First Nations families living in third world conditions. It's a problem that exists on many reservations across Canada. The reasons, of course, are varied, but almost always it comes down to poverty and prejudice from the general public. Now, one man from Haida Gwaii is determined to turn everything around, and he's using the same business model used by some of the most successful corporations.
This is a typical res house. It was built about in the 1940s. Inside they would put panels in there, but there's no insulation in the walls.
Houses like this one are a common sight on many of the reserves in BC and across Canada, with a high number of First Nations people living in overcrowded, decrepit and unsafe homes.
Well, it's a frustrating thing. There are 10 of us here that live here. Those two little guys you see, that's my grandsons. We're looking after them now.
Arnie's difficult housing situation is one Leonard Brillen, a member of Skidegate First Nation band in Haida Gwaii, has seen many times. Brillen has been talking to band members throughout BC about his concept to help First Nations people build better quality homes at a lower cost.
Essentially what we're doing is we're bringing the buying power of all First Nations together versus them going individually to hardware stores throughout BC. We're consolidating their buying power to get the lowest price possible.
The problems with First Nations housing are complex and often misunderstood.
A major misconception that people off reserve have is that First Nations are giving free houses. The true reality of the matter is that Indian Affairs and the Canadian government helps toward a down payment for a new home on reserve. And what that down payment does is enables a First Nation person to be able to take out a mortgage to build their own home.
Yeah, see, we had cut the hole through the wall to get all that. They had a bunch of vermiculite in this house. So you got to do quality work to code. And to do that, you have to have the monies to do these projects and put our people in the living standards that the people should be living in.
First Nations people are some of the most impoverished in BC, so any funding available must be stretched as far as possible.
The siding or windows got to get done. It's got to.
So far, Brillen has visited 100 of the approximately 200 reserves in BC, and many of the bands are excited about his company, First Nations Housing Solutions.
If we can get materials at a better cost, it just allows our available funding and budgets to go farther.
This buying club concept is even more important for remote communities.
A lot of nations, such as the Burns Lake Band in northern BC, we don't have access to the type of human resources that, say, a band down here in the Vancouver area would.
Do people from the bands get involved in the construction as well?
To offer high-quality, low-cost materials to all bands, First Nations Housing Solutions has teamed up with companies like Dick's Lumber.
It's the kind of load you want to be going out heavy.
A location such as ourselves that has the large inventories and access to all the products that were needed and that we could consolidate and ship at one time, as well as knowing that they were buying at the same prices as some of the large builders in British Columbia like Polygon Homes and companies like that.
We want to go nationwide with this, bringing all the First Nations together.